Okay. Can I get a duster? So today we are going to learn about methods of trade, and we have two methods of trade. The first one you have learned already. So which one is the first method of trade? Yes?
Barter trade.
Barter trade. And the second method of trade is currency trade. So by the end of this lesson, I expect you to explain or define the meaning of currency trade. And the second thing that you're supposed to understand by the end of this class is that you discuss or explain the advantages and disadvantages of currency trade. So let's start with the definition of currency trade. And I'm going to demonstrate something here. So be keen. This is a paper punch. And then how much is a paper punch? Anyone who knows the figure of the price of a paper punch?
And 50.
Raise your hand. The price of a paper punch? Yes? 150. Yeah, it's approximately 200 to 250. Unless you bargain, that's when you get 150. Okay? So, can you come here? So, assume Lucy is the seller and I am the buyer. So you're the one selling the photocopy. Who can explain what has just happened? Who can explain what has just happened? Yes, Habiba? Currency trade. So what is the meaning of currency trade? Yes? Yeah, it is the exchange of goods for money. Exchange of goods for money. Thank you, you can sit down. So you see we have exchanged a paper bag for 200 shillings. So that is currency trade. So you can write the definition of currency trade. Currency trade is the use of money to purchase commodities. Okay, so I'm going to explain on the development of currency trade. Before money, before invention of money, trade used to occur. Yes or no? Yes. There was trade. And so, before money, people used to exchange goods for goods. The trade that we call barter trade. And just after the barter trade, we started to have a certain development whereby people could exchange, instead of now exchanging, for example, instead of exchanging a pen for a pencil, now they could exchange maybe this pencil for a copper metal. Copper, gold, salt, those were the things that were seen as the currency of that time. So for example, I could come to your area, you sell for me this phone, and then I give you gold. Gold was seen as the most precious item at that time. Gold was seen to be of having a greater value. So it was like compared to money. Are you getting me? Yes. Have you understood up to there? Yes. Yes. So today we have two main types of currency trade. Two main types of currency trade. Currency trade. Do you know the two main types of currency trade? In simpler terms, I'm just asking, currency is all about money. So we have two forms of money. We usually have someone? Local. No. Coin, good. The first form of type of currency trade is coins. Two main types of currency trade. You can write this in your books. The first one is coins. Coins is like 10 shillings, 20 shillings. We also have 40 shillings, 5 shillings. Those are the coins. We refer to them as coins. The other type of currency trade, yes. The other type of currency trade? Notes. Good. So the other type is notes. Who can give examples of notes in Kenya? Example of notes in Kenya? 500 shillings note. 200 shillings note. 50 shillings note. 1,000 shillings note. Good. So, let's continue to the next subtopic, that is advantages and disadvantages of currency trade. We have talked about currency trade, and we have said currency trade is the exchange of goods for money. So, what do you gain? For example, you have the canteen trade. It is an example of currency trade, where you buy biscuits, then you give the seller the money. Where you buy mandazi, you give 5 bob. So that is a type of currency trade, an example of currency trade. So what are the advantages of currency trade? What are the advantages of currency? When you go there to the school canteen and buy a pen and give the buyer the money, the seller, what are the advantages? What are the benefits? Yes. Money is a store of value, and so what is the advantage under that characteristics? for you to understand clearly the advantages of currency trade, you need to understand the characteristics of money. For example, what she just said, it is the characteristics of money. Money is a store of wealth. So if money is a store of wealth, what is the advantage of that? Yeah, it can be stored for future use. So the advantage is that it enables one to store wealth for future use. So you can write, that is point number 1. The advantage of currency trade. It can be stored it enables one to store wealth. It enables one to store wealth over many years without the risk of losing the wealth. Enables one to store wealth for a longer time without losing wealth. Okay? Have you got the point? So we go to the second advantage. So I've told you, if you want to know the advantages of currency trade, you have to understand the characteristics of money. Okay? So the first point we have said, it enables one to store wealth for a longer period of time without losing it, because money is a store of wealth. So the second point, yes? It can be divided into smaller units. Good. So one advantage of currency trade is that money can be divided into smaller units, and therefore you can buy any amount of goods you want. Okay? So the advantage is that money can be divided. You can write that. Money can be divided into smaller units. Therefore, you can get any amount of goods you want. Unlike the barter trade, so this one I'm explaining. Unlike the barter trade, have you finished writing? Money can be divided into smaller units. Therefore, you can get any amount of goods or services you want. Okay? Yes. That's the advantage. Unlike the barter trade, where, like, for example, I'm exchanging a cow for a 90 kg maize bag. So you see, at some point you cannot divide the cow. Can you cut the cow? You say we are going to cut the head. So you take the head, and as for me, I take 10 kgs of maize. You see, it can't happen. You can't divide the cow into parts. You can just sell the cow as a whole. Okay? Yeah. So that's why we say in currency, you can divide in smaller units. For example, I want a 2 kg sugar kilogram. Maybe I want a half kg. Maybe I want quarter kg. That's what we are meaning by into smaller units. Okay? So let's go to the third point. The third point is that it can be carried easily from one place to another. It can be carried easily from one place to another. The third advantage, it can be carried easily from one point to another. So in that point, I've given an example here. I was selling a paper punch for 200 shillings. So you've seen I've come from my office there until today's class from 2G. And I've carried 200 shillings. It means I can carry the money. You can carry it from one place to another. So it's easier to make trade. Are we in agreement?
Yes.
Have you understood that point?
Yes.
Yes. Unlike barter trade, where you find in barter trade, at sometimes the load, for example, the 90 kg maize bag, you cannot carry it alone, right?
Yes.
Putting it at your shoulders and go unless you have good manners. So it is difficult to take it from this place to another, maybe unless you have the means of transport. But for currency, you can just walk even with 100,000 in your pocket. Yeah. So let's go to the fourth advantage of currency trade. Currency trade makes payment easier. Currency trade makes payment easier. It makes payment easier because money can be converted into different forms. So, have you finished writing?
Yes.
So in this point, when you are using currency trade, it is easier to trade. Why? Because money can be converted into different forms. For example, when you have 1,000, you can buy a commodity that maybe costs 500,000, and you can still remain with your 500,000. So there are various forms. Just like we have said, we have coins and notes. We have 100 shillings note, 200 shillings note. Unlike in barter trade, we only have one way of transacting, in which the way is only that I'm going to give you a pen and you give me a pencil. That's the only way in barter trade. But when it comes to currency trade, I can buy goods for 100, I can buy goods for 200 shillings, I can buy for 5 gold, I can buy for... It depends with the money you have. Okay? Have you understood?
Yes.
The next point is that it helps to determine the exact worth of goods. It helps from the back. Can you see from here? Here. It helps to determine the exact worth. So currency trade helps to determine the exact worth of goods and services. So when you talk of worth, what do you mean by worth? What do you mean by worth? The value, good. The value of the commodity. The value of the commodity. For example, the paper punch I had shown. This is a paper punch. So when I say I'm going to sell this paper punch at 100, have I really determined the worthiness or the value of this paper punch? But when I sell it at 200 or 250, have I determined the exact worth of goods and of this paper punch?
Yes.
Why do you think so? Why do you think this paper punch, it should be sold for 200 and not 100? Why do you think so? Yes? Yeah, good, because of the value in this paper punch. You know this paper punch, it just costs 200 or 250, but the work that is going to do in the office is a lot. So its value is great. So you cannot undermine its value and sell it for 20 bob. Unlike in barter trade, maybe this could be exchanged for a marker pen. Marker pen and a paper punch. Do they have the same value?
No.
So let's go to disadvantages of currency trade. Another name for disadvantages is demerits. So in the exam, you may be asked, stage 2, demerit or limitation of currency trade. So the question will just be simply asking of the disadvantages. Okay? So we have some of the disadvantages of currency trade. You know, all of you are users of currency trade, right? Or what kind of trade do you use? At home, at school? Is it barter trade or currency trade?
Currency.
Yeah, currency is the mostly common method of trade today. So you are all users of currency trade. So what are the disadvantages of currency trade? Disadvantages. When I come here, I sell this paper punch for this 200. Is there any disadvantage to it? There's sometimes there are disadvantages. Anyone at home, you have a shop, maybe your mother is a shopkeeper, or you own your own shop as a family. Any? You don't have shops? So, one of the example of disadvantages, you know, sometimes, like now, in Kenya, right now, the status quo of the economy, it's not really good. The cost of living is very high. So, at this point, you'll go there and ask, for example, maybe I want to buy a exercise book. An exercise book like this one. Before the cost of living were high, how much was this book? 70 shillings. Right now it's 120, 130. Just 96 pages, 120 pages for 130. So that is an example of a disadvantage of currency trade. So what is the disadvantage? I'm giving you an example. What is the disadvantage from the example that I've given? Currency trade. It is expensive. Really? Can you replace that expensive with a quota? Yes.
The goods that are supposed to be gold might be too high. The price may be too high, so you cannot afford that.
Yeah. So the disadvantage in her point is that unless you have the money, then you can get the commodity. So if you don't have the money, you cannot get the commodity. So the disadvantage here is that it only works when you have the money. Okay? It only works when you have the money. So the point that I've illustrated here about the economy is that the economy of the country affects currency trade. So the disadvantage is that the economy of the country affects currency trade. You can write that down. you can write this. The value of the currency may fluctuate. The value of the currency may fluctuate. Fluctuate is FLCTUATE. Fluctuate means changing. It is changing, okay? So the value of the currency may fluctuate depending on the strength depending on the strength of a country's economy. Depending on the strength. Depending on the strength of a country's economy. The second disadvantage, money remains valuable. Money remains valuable only when those using it, this one. Only when those using it have belief that it will continue retaining its value. So that point is just clear, is that you can only see the value of a commodity when you still believe that this commodity is for this value. Just for example, I asked you that this paper punch, when I sell it at 100, when you tell me the value will not be determined. And so that is the point in that disadvantage, that when people believe that this paper punch should only be sold for 200 shillings and above, and not 200 shillings and below. So that is the disadvantage. Money is only valuable when the people believe that this commodity deserves this price. Okay? When people don't know the value of the commodity, then currency trade will be ineffective. Because you first, even when you go to a shop, maybe you're buying electronics like TV, you first check the value of this TV. Am I going to buy this TV today and tomorrow it has dropped down? So you first check the value. And when you ask the seller and the seller tells you this TV is 10,000 and maybe it is an Alkmaar type of TV, it's 10,000, and then you are like, no, this one cannot be 10,000. Then what about the other types that you know they are very, very of high quality? So you only believe that this TV should only cost this amount because of its value. Okay, so that's the end of our lesson for disadvantages and advantages on methods of trade, whereby we'll be talking on currency trade. So you can close your books. So what have we been learning today? What have I taught you? Yes. Currency trade. What is currency trade? Who can define or explain currency trade? Exchange of goods and services for money. It's not goods alone, it's services. An example of services is hairdressing. When you go there and they paint your hair, that is a service. When you go to the barber shop, that is a service. So it's not only goods, it is exchange of goods and services for money. Good. So, and we talked of types of currency trade. What are the types of currency trade? The types or the forms of currency trade. Yes. Coins, good. Notes. You can say notes or paper money. So you can put a stroke in your book once I'm done. coins and paper money. Paper money or notes. The other name for notes, you can say paper money. It's okay. And then after that, we went to advantages of currency trade. Anyone to mention like 4 advantages of currency trade? 4. I only need 4. You just say one, then the other person say another one. So just one person saying 4. You're scared. Okay, advantages of currency trade. 1. It is easy to carry from one place to another. In a simpler term, it is portable. It is portable. Okay? The second advantage, no, I need a new hand. Someone who has not answered. Just the class started, yes. Money can be stored for over many years and you cannot lose its value. So, why do you think it can be stored for many years? What is the characteristic that fits in money? Characteristics of money. Good. Money is a store of value. Money is a store of value. That is why you can store money for a longer period. That's why you have banks. They are storing money because money is a store of value. Okay. Another advantage. Yes, good. It helps to determine the exact worth of goods and services. Yes. Okay. Sorry? Yeah, it can be divided into smaller units. Okay. And lastly, we did the disadvantages of currency trade. Who is going to state at least one? At least one disadvantages of currency trade. Yes. We have talked of 2 points. You have understood on the disadvantages why a hand stamp. It's supposed to be. Some people do one minute and a hand is down. So you better it only works when you have money. So when you don't have money, you cannot do currency trade. Because it is only exchange of goods and services for money. Okay? That's why when you go there outside there, there's no company. And you say, oh, I want to buy this bread. They don't have it. No, don't look for no bread.